Well, with the husband out of the house, Frank's father decided to have some father-daughter time, but unfortunately, this busy dad is just a spectator. Planning to catch up with old buddy Robert tomorrow, but hoping Amy won't drop any spoilers. He wanted to surprise Robert, but Amy beat him to it and delivered the surprise early that night. Before leaving the next day, he pulled out his old camera to capture his daughter's happy moments, but the little one just wanted to snuggle with Mom. Frank was busy snapping photos while the joyous laughter of the family played like a wonderful symphony in his ears. On the way to the station, Amy took him on a little tour of her company, wanting Dad to know, hey, I'm doing just fine. Dad even got to experience being the boss for a bit, but Frank just felt like a newbie in the workplace. At the station, Frank ran into his daughter's co-workers, pondering, what kind of party is this, anyway? He handed his daughter a letter, then suddenly asked a philosophical question. Are you happy? Are you asking if I'm happy? Of course I am. But Frank still didn't seem convinced. After their final hug, Frank turned towards the platform, secretly thinking, should I buy a discounted ticket? As the train zoomed away, the scenery outside transformed like a chameleon on a mission. Frank fell into thought, wondering, what am I thinking? Watching the scenery is like a free movie. Finally arriving in Denver, Frank looked for his son's concert hall and couldn't help but grab a passerby's phone for a snap with the poster. Walking into the hall excitedly, he discovered the conductor wasn't his son. Talk about a conducting mix-up. As it turned out, Robert was a low-key drummer, and when he saw Dad, he finally broke into a smile. Frank thought to himself, why isn't my son conducting? Is the signal bad where I came from? Robert nervously remarked, I occasionally conduct. It's truly a dream theater. As the rehearsal came to an end, Robert finally admitted, well, I'm just an ordinary drummer. Frank thought to himself, my son possesses such extraordinary talent. How on earth is he being overlooked and lost in the crowd here? He wanted to fund his son's further study, but Robert said, thanks, no training camp. Robert said, I've let you down, and Frank could only sigh, still confused. Frank still wanted to stay for a few more days, but Robert declined him with the reason of I have a gig. That coin slot refusal left Frank feeling a bit unwelcome. He realized there was an invisible barrier between him and the kids and had to quietly slip away. Before departing, he inquired one additional time, and upon hearing his son's answer, he simply held back his speech. Though reluctant, he said goodbye to Robert, and suddenly saw his son as a child again. Frank sneaked a letter onto the desk as his version of a message for the future. Robert immediately called Rosie, while Frank had no clue that this concert was already over prematurely. Frank had no idea his carefully planned surprise had already flopped, and the kids seemed to harbor some secrets he wasn't privy to. With that, Frank set off on his humorous journey to Las Vegas, all the while dialing Big Brother David's number. But no one picked up, making him question the state of the world's connectivity. Down in the underpass, he stumbled upon a homeless guy who looked about the same age as his little boy. Frank, the kind man, took out $10, only to see the homeless man eye his $100. In the midst of the scuffle, his medicine was trampled into powder, and Frank truly felt sick this time. He dialed his late wife's number, wanting to hear her familiar voice for some comfort. On the journey to his youngest daughter's city, Frank was attempting to self-medicate himself using medicine powder each and every day. Arriving in Las Vegas, he was welcomed by none other than a fancy car. Talk about a grand entrance. Rosie lived in a luxury apartment and even booked a lavish lunch for Dad. Truly, a donkey turned into a horse moment. She enthusiastically showed off her room's decor while Frank snapped photos, thinking it's like living in a gold mine. But then, surprise! Rose's friend burst in with an emergency, and Frank gladly filled in while lunch plans fizzled out. Still, Frank was smitten by the little one, playfully picking him up and making everyone laugh. That night, Frank accidentally heard a voicemail about his daughter, leaving him puzzled. puzzled as to why his children only reported good news, and with his life-saving meds running low, he decided to head home. Though the little daughter wanted him to stay, she ultimately agreed, and they shared a delicious pig dinner. At the table, Frank nostalgically saw his daughter as a child, reminiscing about their all talking everything days. But now, the kid seemed to be hiding something, prompting him to ask, "Why do you only chat with Mom and not share with me?" Rosie replied, "Because Mom listens well, and we just want you to be happy. It's a hard balance." Though they didn't want to disappoint their hard-working father, they decided to stick to only good news. If you enjoyed this humorous little tale, remember to subscribe for more laugh out loud stories coming your way.